Oh, on the College Board? All right, guys, let's go over this. First of all, I know I'm always annoying, but maybe I'm even more annoying lately, but what's your go-to get started formula to write the equation of a line? Beautiful, we all know it, right? So we hope that the problem tells us M, and we hope that the problem tells us B, because once you have those two pieces of information, you are ready. Well, guys, who did they definitely tell you? No. The what? That we want. What piece of information did they definitely tell us that we want? The y-intercept. We need B. And they clearly said the y-intercept is who? Plug it right in. That's a good piece of information. We can use that immediately. Okay, so we definitely know that. Now, a couple common mistakes I see from here is students are then like, oh, well, if that's the y-intercept, then I'm going to plug the 3 in for m and say 3x minus 5. Guys, m is slope. Did they say the slope is 3? So you can't plug it there. Then I see students do this. Oh, the x-intercept is 3. The y-intercept is negative 5. Does that make an ordered pair? Does it make an ordered pair? No, they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. One's an x-coordinate and one's a y-coordinate, but not together, not talking about the same point. Guys, think about everything I told you about intercepts. What is always one of the coordinates in an intercept? 0. So they're not unknown points. Guys, if this is the x-intercept, that means that your line crosses the x-axis at an x value of 3 right there. Guys, his x-coordinate is 3, but what's his y-coordinate have to be?
Negative 5.
No, what did we say an intercept has to have as one of its coordinates? 0. It's got to be the point 3, 0. What's up? Are you going home? Okay. Do you want, here, take these just in case. There is an assignment online. See what you can do. There will be a video of this if you feel that desperate to watch it. Got it. Okay. Hope you feel better.
Sorry.
Yes.
Access real quick.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, it's the x-intercept. That means he has an x value of 3, but his y-coordinate has to be 0. You guys need to remember that the minute you hear intercept, you know one of the coordinates. One of the coordinates has to be 0 to be an intercept. So if you are an x-intercept, that means your x-coordinate is 3 when your y-coordinate is 0. Guys, if that's the y-intercept, that is the point where your line crosses the y-axis. He's right on the y-axis. What point is that? What ordered pair is that? 0, -5. If that's a y-intercept, then he clearly has a y-coordinate of -5, but his x-coordinate is 0. We spent an entire game using intercepts. I need you guys to remember what it means. You can't learn it and then 2 days later have no idea what you learned. These are things you have to put in your tool belt so that you can use them on future problems. Everybody in the class should have known that. You should have known that's what it means to be an intercept. That if you're an x-intercept, this is your x value when your y value is 0. If you are a y-intercept, this is your y value when your x value is 0. Guys, now you know 2 points. What piece of information can you find on your own now? Find your slope. Change in y over change in x. I would be so upset if somebody got this question wrong on an SAT. This is stuff you have straight textbooks learned. You have learned all of this straight up. All right, so now we're going to do change in y over change in x. I just went straight down. All right, and then we're going to get 5 over 3, which doesn't divide and doesn't reduce. So put that in for your slope. And now you know y equals 5 over 3 times x minus 5. And there's the equation of a line that has a slope of 5/3 and a y-intercept of -5. All right? All right. Today is our last day of taking notes. And then tomorrow we review. And Wednesday we take a quiz on this. So today is going to be a new set of problems, new information they tell you to write the equation of a line with. Beautiful. All right, let's do it.
I don't know how I feel about this quiz.
It's all the same. All right, here we go. Let's write the equation of a line. So if we go to do that, who's our get started formula?
Y equals mx plus b.
Yes, it is. I know I say that every single time at the beginning of a problem, which means if that's your formula, you hope for M and you hope for B. Because once you know M and B, there is no equation you can't write. So those are the two best pieces of information they can tell you about a line. Slope and y-intercept. Once you have them, you're ready. All right, here we go. Look at example 1. I'm just going to warn you. These problems, they're a little long, but we know all the parts. We just have to put all these parts together. This one says, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. That's great. We don't got to leave it in standard. We get to stay in y equals mx plus b. Our line has to pass through that point, and our line is parallel to that line right there. All right, who's your go-to get started formula? Good. Don't be afraid to say it. Everybody should be saying it. So we need slope, M, and we need B. Guys, did they flat out tell you who slope was here? No. Did they flat out tell you who the y-intercept is? No. And we know it's not him because this would have to have an x-coordinate of who to be our y-intercept? 0, and it doesn't. So he's a random point. All right, but guys, they did mention the word parallel. The minute you hear the word parallel, what piece of information are they trying to give you a clue about? It's a slope clue. It is a slope clue. Because what do parallel lines slopes? What do? What are they to each other? They're the same. So that means if our line is parallel to that line, we have to have the same slope. So we got to figure out who his slope is so we know who our slope is. But guys, is that equation in a form where we know what his slope is right now? No, that's standard form. So let's find his slope by getting that equation in slope-intercept form. So let's find our slope. In order to do that, we have to find this line, slope. So just subtract the 4x, exactly. If we subtract the 4x, we're there. Y equals negative 4x plus 1. Guys, what's the slope of this line? Negative 4. The y-intercept has nothing to do with our problem. His y-intercept will never mean anything to ours. All we need is his slope. So since his slope is negative 4, what do we now know our slope has to be since we're parallel to this line? We know slope. Slope has to be negative 4. It's got to be the same. So guys, plug it right in. Start building your line. Start building your equation. And I don't know if you're excited, but guys, the slope isn't a fraction. You got to love when the slope is not a fraction. Go ahead.
Yes, and plug in that.
Now we're back to normal. Now we just got to figure out B. We don't know the y-intercept. All we know is this random point that is on our line. So again, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to borrow this point for x and y, and we're going to plug them in, and we're going to solve for B. So everybody do that, because that's got to be part of the routine at this point. We have done this for 2.5 days straight. So everybody borrow the point, plug it in for x and y, and get B. Just make sure you put the numbers in for the correct letters. Okay, borrow that point, plug it in, and solve for B. And this is as nice as they're ever going to get, because like I said, we're not dealing with fractions here. When slope is a whole number, you got to appreciate those problems.
Are we dividing or?
Did you do this?
Yeah.
So now clean it up. What's negative 4 times negative 2?
B.
What's the only thing you have to do to get B by itself and move the 8 away? Minus it. Okay, well, how to get what? Are you okay? Because you weren't here on Friday, so you're like a day less practice than us. And then B ends up being negative 5, right? And all you got to do is put B in right there, and your equation will be written. Y equals negative 4x minus 5. And you're done. Okay, question? Did you have a question?
No, you lost me.
Where? God, tell me where.
A long time ago.
All right. Did you find the slope of the line they gave us?
Yeah.
Okay. So then since they told us our line is parallel to it, do you realize why our slope has to be the same?
Yeah, I don't get like the borrow part. I always try to plug it in for B.
Well, we don't know B. B is the
Right.
part we don't know. All we know is an x coordinate and a y coordinate from that point. So they have to go in for x and y, and then the only thing left is b. This is what we've been doing since Thursday. This is what we do. We borrow that point as an x value and a y value that you can plug in for, and then it only leaves b in the equation. Okay?
Is it always going to tell you it's parallel or perpendicular?
Yes, in today's problems, yes. That's how today's problems are going to be. They're going to tell us a line that our line has to be parallel or perpendicular to. All right, let's try another one. Let's get another one under our belt, and then I'm going to let you try the third one. All right, look at number 2. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, so that's always good news for us, that passes through the point -5, -3, and it's perpendicular to the line they gave us. All right, guys, let's get started. Who's our starting formula? Don't lose me. Come on, I'm going to give you one to do on your own. Who's our formula? Thank you. Okay. Did they tell us flat out the slope? No. Did they tell us flat out the y-intercept? No. How do we know this is not the y-intercept? Because x is not 0. All right. So to get started, they gave us a clue. They said our line is perpendicular to that line. What are perpendicular lines to each other? Their slopes are opposite signs and the reciprocal. So if we know what the slope of this line is, we know what the slope of our line will need to be. But guys, right now, do we know the slope of this line? No, we got to get y by itself. So let's find our slope. All right, let's take this line, 2x minus 3y equals -9, and let's get y by itself so we can figure out who the slope is. Now, we've been training for this. We know what to do. Move everything away from y. Don't forget to reduce everything down. Divide by -3. Again, I don't feel like I should have to show you this. Hopefully you're okay. And we get y equals, what's a negative over a negative? And then 2/3 does not divide, does not reduce. We leave it as 2/3 times x. Technically, it doesn't matter. This number could be 1 million. It doesn't matter to us. We don't care. But since I'm right here, I'll finish it. But all we need is his slope. Guys, what's the slope of the line they gave us? 2/3. So if our line is perpendicular, what does our slope need to be? Negative, and then flip it over, 3/2. So now we know our slope. I always give the negative to the top, so I think of this as -3 over +2. Put it in for m, and start writing your equation.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What did I do to work?
Say it again.
Can the way that I do to work?
Say it again.
Can the way that I do this problem work? I just go click.
Where? When you get here?
When I get
Because
Yes, but hold on, Darian. Why do you have 2/3? If his slope is 2/3, ours needs to be the opposite and the reciprocal.
So you flip it and then you multiply by x?
Yeah, but flip it and make it negative. So
So that's over here.
well, where's the negative sign? Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, yeah. And then you would do -3/2 times whatever number you plug in for x.
Oh, so you have,
Okay.
So you have to multiply by
Yep. All right, so guys, now here we go. So now we're here. We don't know the y-intercept, but this is the part that should feel like a routine. How are we going to get b? What's the only other piece of information we know? The point that we're going to plug in for who and who? X and y, and we're going to solve for b. Everybody do that. I want you guys to do it. It's an ugly fraction, but you can do it. All right, borrow that point. -5, -3. Plug it in for x and y, and solve for b. I would put it over 1 if I'm you to keep myself organized. And now you are multiplying top with top and bottom with bottom. I want this. Something went wrong here. Perfect. All right, this step right here. You have to, hang on.
I think I did it.
You are minusing 16/3 over, right? So it's -7 minus 16/3. You can. I wouldn't though. I would just subtract it over. All right, again, use a calculator, don't use a calculator. Yes, but now you have -3 equals 15 halves plus B. Keep going, solve for B. Keep going. Yes, keep going, come on. Come on, yep. What do we got? Yep, so all you gotta do is figure out that and you are home free. Come on, Chris. Steven, how we doing? Come on. Yes, okay, so now you have -3. No, look. Now you have -3 equals 15 over 2 plus B. Solve for B now. Everybody should have this. To get B by itself, all you have to do is minus those 15 halves to the other side. Right? Because -3 times -5 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. Now we're going to move this over. So now whatever -3 minus 15 halves is, that's B. You need to either ask your calculator what is -3 minus 15 over 2, or you should be able to do it on your own. Get a common denominator.
Sorry.
What happened here? Once you had -3 equals 15 halves, what did you do to get -8?
Sorry.
Right, and you should, but your calculator should not told you -8. What'd you get?
Is it 9?
No.
Oh, wait.
Oh, hold on. -3 minus 15 halves.
Yeah.
You got the right word, but it doesn't become 9 over 2.
I did the 2 negative.
Oh, it's not 2 negative.
Yeah.
No, it's just minus. Right? Hold on, you all right?
I think I did it right. Is it 21? We're looking for Y, correct? So.
No, we're looking for B. So you have.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I got 20. Sorry.
Please help. So get a common denominator.
I know.
Or extra calculator, whatever you like to do. What you got?
Is it -21 over 2?
Let's go. All right, look at this one. I just put the -3 over 1. Now I'm going to get a common denominator. What's a common denominator between 1 and 2? 2, right? So I'm going to make this a 2 by timesing it by 2, which means I have to times it by 2, which means you get -6 over +2 minus 15 halves. All you have to do is the top. -6 minus 15 is -21 over a common denominator of 2. Doesn't divide, doesn't reduce. -21 halves is B. So all you have to do is plug it in right there, and you get Y equals -3 over 2x minus 21 halves. Go ahead, Darren.
Could you show me how to do it?
Yeah, everybody, right now, you're doing 3. It's the exact same problem, just different numbers, but the process is exactly the same. Woo, that's it. What do you got, Darren? All right, so you're not dividing. You are taking -3, and you are subtracting 15.
Oh, so you subtracted it?
Yeah, that's what we're minusing it. Oh. Okay. -3, because right, you had to take the 15 halves and minus it over. So -3, subtract 15 halves. Yeah, if I was dividing, I would have put a division bar. And then you hit enter, and it gives you -10 1/2. Here. See this up here? It's add. Nope, never mind. See above it?
Oh, you changed it?
Yes. They changed it to an improper file.
Oh, okay.
It looks.
I gotta remember this.
All right, so try that one. It starts the exact same way. Just be careful, because when we took our quiz on parallel and perpendicular, a lot of you would read parallel, but you would do perpendicular. So carefully read the problem, make sure you know what it's asking. Hope we all started with our formula. We need to write the equation of a line that is going through the point 4, -7, and is perpendicular to the line, 3x plus 4y equals 8. Come on. I'll tell you right now, it's an ugly fraction again. It's an ugly answer. It ain't pretty.
I got it.
Oh, hold on, Steven, I'm coming.
Is it?
Yes, Cole.
I do it?
Hold on. What do you got?
Wait,
Oh, wait,
see
you know what?
Let me see. I'm dying here.
I'm doing it so.
Yeah! Yes! Okay, so now you gotta put it in for me. That's the easy part. Come on.
Okay, I'm acing this.
Right?
Now that I learned about
Guys, you can do these ones. There's nothing you can't do. These are the longest ones.
Now that you told me to do the calculator,
It's over. Game changer.
Sorry, I got it.
Yeah? Is there a 37 somewhere?
Yep.
Vertical.
What if she said 38?
Yes.
Just like trickle.
Right, I gotta get the slope of this line, which it seems like you guys have absolutely no problem with. Just gonna try and keep it moving as you guys go. What was the slope of the line you guys found? Negative.
3/4.
So what does your slope have to be perpendicular again? All right, so everybody has a slope of 4/3. I would plug that right in. And then again, it all comes down to finding that darn B. So you're gonna borrow the point and find B. All right, borrowing the point, and we're finding B. This should be coming like a routine. All right, straight across, top with top, bottom with bottom. Then you got to get B by itself. To get B by itself, minus that right away. It's positive, so we'll subtract it to the other side. So now -7 subtract 16/3 is B. I got to come up here so you can see. That's what you need to find to get to your final answer. That's what B is going to be, whatever -7 minus 16/3 is. You can either ask a calculator or you can put it over 1 and do it yourself. What's a common denominator between 1 and 3? So I'll times this by 3 and this by 3. That's -21/3 minus 16/3 equals B. All you got to do is your tops. So -21 minus 16 more is -37 over that common denominator of 3. It doesn't divide, it doesn't reduce. That's B. So you got to put that number in right there and be done. So y equals 4/3 x minus 37/3. And you're done. All right? I'm not saying that these problems have the nicest numbers to work with, but they are the same process over and over and over again. All right? So you either have to get really good at using the calculator, or you have to get really good at being able to do it yourself. Yes?
The next one, we're looking for the slope now.
Oh, no. The next ones are the best ones. All right? Okay, so you are going to have a handful of these problems tonight on Delta Math that'll be due tomorrow. But I wanted to sneak the last kind in on the back. So look at the back, and let's look at some more horizontal and vertical lines. Again, the horizontal and vertical lines, guys, they're meant to be nicer in the sense that, wait till you see, there's almost no work. You don't have to plug this in and solve for B, but it's a mind game. You have to be able to know and look at a graph and tell what is happening. All right, so look at the first example. Because there's almost no work, guys. All right, example 1 says, write the equation of a line that is parallel to the line y equals 6, and it passes through the point -2, -1. So it looks like it's the exact same problem as before. But guys, look at this. Our line has to be parallel to this line. How many variables do you see? that's a horizontal or vertical line. If there's only one variable in the equation, it's a horizontal or vertical line. So I think you would be silly if you didn't draw the picture. So guys, there's your graph. Graph that line. What does the line y equals 6 look like? It's either horizontal or vertical. Guys, it is literally saying that every single y coordinate on the line has to be 6. So go to where y is 6. Where is that? Up, down, right, or left? Up 6. Now draw another point where a y coordinate is 6. Right there. Draw another point that has a y coordinate of 6. Right there. But guys, can I draw a point here? Can I draw a point up there? Over here? No. It has to be up there. So what kind of line is being formed when y is always 6? It's a horizontal line. Okay. So y equals 6 is a horizontal line. So if our line is parallel to it, it has to be another what kind of line? Only what is parallel to a horizontal line? Another horizontal line. So our line is horizontal. It's horizontal, and it's got to pass through this point. Left 2, down 1. So that's the line, guys. That's a horizontal line that passes through the point -2, -1. Left 2, down 1. And they are definitely parallel. So this is who we have to write the equation of. This horizontal line that passes through the point -2, -1. So guys, look at your line and tell me right now which coordinate on that line stays the same all the time. No, -2 is changing. Here's -1, -1, 0, -1, 1, -1, 2, -1, 3, -1, 4, -1. The x is changing like crazy because this line is going right and left. Is it going up or down? So who's not changing? The y coordinate, which is, so this is the line where every single y coordinate is -1. So what's the equation? Y always equals who? Done. So there's no work. It's all visual. It's you understanding what's a horizontal line, what's a vertical line, what does its equation look like, which coordinate doesn't change. All right, let's look down here. Write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the line y equals 6 and passes through the point -2, -1. So guys, it's almost the exact same problem. You have the line y equals 6 again, so you should recognize one variable, that's special. The line where y is always 6, just like before, was a horizontal line. Now, our line has to be perpendicular to it. So guys, if that's a horizontal line, only what kind of line would be perpendicular to a horizontal? Vertical. Now our line is vertical. So now we have to write the equation of a vertical line that passes through -2, -1. Left 2, down 1, and it's got to be vertical. So guys, there's our line right here. So it passes through the point -2, -1. Tell me right now, on a vertical line, which coordinate always stays the same? X, the -2. Every single point on this line will have an x coordinate of -2. So that means the line is literally, who doesn't change? But which coordinate? And it always equals who? Done. That is the, what's up?
So if it's perpendicular to the x, and if it's...
Well, it depends on what you started with. Did you start with a vertical line? Because then it would be a horizontal line that's perpendicular. So it depends on who you started with.
Yes. Yes.
But guys, if you're sitting here, and I know this is going to sound so bitchy, but if you can look at this line and you can't determine which coordinate doesn't change, as a junior in high school, you are telling me right now that trying to figure out which coordinate is always the same, that is very scary. Because you learn a coordinate plane in 7th grade, and you have used it every year since. And you are telling me that as a junior, you can't figure out which coordinate stays the same, or who's changing and who's not. I'm sorry, I know that sounds horrible, but that is shameful if you don't know which coordinate stays the same. All right, and we've graphed these, and we've talked about their parallel and perpendicular slopes. So you guys always act like it's brand new information. It's not. I taught this. Your freshman teacher taught it. Your geometry teacher taught it. Your 8th grade teacher taught it. At some year, you have to let it sink in. All right, look at this one. Write the equation of a line that is parallel to the y-axis and passes through the point -5, 7. Guys, you have a coordinate plane. It is literally the intersection of two number lines. You have a horizontal number line that we call the what-axis, and you have a vertical number line that we call the y-axis. We have to write the equation of a line that is parallel to the y-axis. Guys, the y-axis is what kind of line? No,
Wait, what?
a vertical line. So if our line has to be parallel to this, what kind of line does it also have to be? A vertical line. Only a vertical line is parallel to a vertical line. So we know our line is also vertical, and it passes through the point -5, 7. There's our line, guys. It is parallel to the y-axis, and it passes through the point -5, 7. So you look at this line, and you tell me which coordinate is the same in every single ordered pair. No, 7 is changing like crazy. This is -5, 7, -5, 8, -5, 9, -5, 10, -5, 6, -5, 5, -5, 4, -5, 3.
-5.
The -5 never changes. It's the x coordinate that never changes. So this is the line where the x coordinate is always -5. So what's the equation? X equals -5. Oh dear Lord. All right. I threw the last one on here because it was also an SAT question, and I just feel like I would be so upset if one of my students got this wrong. But again, it takes remembering something you've learned previous. So this says, write a linear function in slope-intercept form. So guys, here's our go-to formula, except they asked you to write a linear function. So instead of y, you use f of x. Okay, no big deal. Now it says f of 3 equals -5 and f of 0 equals -9. They're using old-fashioned function talk with you. Gosh, you did this. We answered all these questions back in chapter 2, or the beginning of chapter 2. Guys, f of 3 equals -5. What does that mean? It means who got plugged into the function? 3 as which variable, x or y? Who always went into the function? X, right? F of x. X went in, so he went in as x. And then who came out of the function? -5, and the output was always 1. So function notation, if you remember, you were told you were either allowed to write your answer like this, or you were allowed to write it as an ordered pair, because it means the same thing. This means 3 went in as x, and -5 came out as y. Function notation can always be rewritten as an ordered pair. So guys, f of 0 equals -9. Who went into the function? As x, and then who came out of the function? As the what? You know 2 points, and you tell me right now what point that is. Who? B. That's your y-intercept. So you can plug -9 in right now. And now, since you know 2 points, what can you find on your own? Did you know that? Okay. Slope. Everybody find slope. And you're done. So again, this is just putting together what we know about function notation. And then don't forget to always reduce. And then your slope is 4/3. Pop it in and you're done. Did anybody remember that about function notation? No, this is not good. We spent a week and 2 days on functions alone. And you've already put out the window what that is telling you. Come on, you gotta hold on to the information. All right, so remember, you have Friday's homework due tonight, but you have today's homework due tomorrow. The review that I let you guys work on in class tomorrow is also due tomorrow. So I would try to get today's homework done so that nothing piles up for tomorrow night.
And what are we quizzing on? The thing we
Just writing this.
just this?
Writing the equation of life. We've been doing it since Thursday or Wednesday. We've been doing this since Wednesday.
There's too many classes to remember everything.
I know.
Grade cells.
But we all did it, guys. Everybody, I survived school.
I did Friday homework.
But it's somewhere hopefully to try to.
You did what?
Friday homework.
Done. Beautiful. So that's less. Now all you have to worry about is tonight and then tomorrow's review.
So I was gonna be.
I fell asleep at like 8 again.
At 8 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I pass out on Friday nights.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta do the homework, and then like, I
Just
close my eyes, and then I passed out.
With drinks?
I was like laying in bed, and I closed my eyes.
Oh, that happens all the time. I try to watch a show and then I fall asleep.
Sorry, did you record?
What's up?
Record.
I am so.
143 will be 1.